Hi everyone, and today we're going to be looking at the Amflow PL Carbon Pro, and we're going to be, even better, we're going to get to ride it in some of Rotorua New Zealand's best trails. Not today, however, it's actually raining and I'm filming this bit in a barn. Now, I have been thinking, what's the best way of approaching this video, given that this has to be one of the most reviewed mountain bikes in recent times? What can I possibly tell you that you don't already know? Now, I do get asked a lot of questions. A lot of people send me messages directly asking me questions, and one of the questions I've been asked a lot lately is should they get an Amflow or should they get a Velduro Rogue? Now, for those not familiar, the Velduro Rogue is another DJI Avinox bike that's designed here in New Zealand, and I got to review that fairly recently. But up until now, of course, I've said, well, I've not ridden the Amflow, so I can't really make a direct comparison. But of course, that's going to change. So given that I may be one of the few people in the world who's actually ridden and tested both bikes, that maybe is where we should focus the video. So at the end, we'll do a bit of a comparison for you. Now, my mum watches the channel. In fact, you may not believe this, but my channel is the only mountain bike YouTube channel that she actually follows. I don't know how she ended up following my one, maybe a coincidence, but for my mum and for anyone else who doesn't know anything about the Amflow, I'll give you a quick overview. Okay, so it's a carbon frame, it's a 29er, but it's mullet compatible. It's a 160/150 travel, Fox 36 factory fork up front, Fox Float X out the rear. It's got SRAM XO transmission drivetrain that's wired into the bike. It has Magura MT7 Pro brakes with 203 rotors front and back. It's got Amflow's own carbon wheels, and it's got a Fox transfer factory dropper, which is a 155/180 adjustable travel, and this is a size large. Now, of course, the big thing, it's got the DJI Avinox motor. A lot of things I really like about this. I won't go into all the settings right now, or if at all. It's got controllers, both handlebars. It's wireless, so really nice, clean cockpit. It's got a touch screen on the top tube, and you can connect the bike to your phone, but you can also pretty much do everything in here. You can adjust how many Newton meters you want, how much torque, how much power, how much overrun, everything you can do with the touch screen, so that's really cool. 1000 watts peak power, 105 Newton meters in trail mode, and if you hit the old boost button, you'll go up to 120 Newton meters. And this will make some of you spit up your cornflakes. Now in New Zealand, it cuts out at 45 kilometers an hour, and trust me, that is seriously cool. Loads of modes on this thing. It has a little micro tune mode that you can set, so a little bit of power up and down. It has a smooth shift mode. It'll actually change gears while you're not pedaling. It has a chain assist, chain protection mode that sort of backs off the power when you change as well. It has help, you can adjust how much assistance to get you started on hills. It has a mode that you can decide how much you want to charge the battery up to. You can even turn your DJI camera on and off from the handlebar. And there are loads more modes hidden in there. It is seriously cool. But anyway, I think we should probably go out and take this thing for a ride. Okay, so when I say I'm about to go for a ride, what I mean is I've actually been for a ride. In fact, I've been for 2 rides. And the first ride, I ended up riding with about 15 guys, never met any of them before, felt a bit embarrassed. They were all at least 10 years older than me, but they were much fitter. We ended up doing a 44-kilometer ride. Kind of long story, I won't explain, but at the end of basically what happened was I had no time to set the bike up, so didn't even check tyre pressure, didn't check shock or fork, just got on the bike and started riding. So the bike, we had a great day, but the bike was a little bit stiff and felt a little bit slow in the suspension. So I made some adjustments, lowered some pressure to increase some rebound, and the bike was a lot better on the second day. So anyway, let's get into it.
All right, I've ended up on a group ride with 15 people on e-bikes, and I've got the Amflow. And we're starting with a bit of no brains, and I've got it in auto. Don't think his brakes are actually bedded in yet. I think this bike's not sure how much it's been ridden. Cool bit of track. So not Tim Tam. Alright, bit of tower on the way back. I mean, fiddling around with the settings. Actually, auto was up to 105 newton meters and 850 watts, so it's still a pretty powerful motor, but I've dropped down so it'll go down to the lowest power setting as well, so get a bigger range. Bit of a hill climb.
Sorry.
Well, let's try this hill assist. I guess that worked. All right, we're on split ends. You know, it's not my favorite track, but what happens if we put it in trail and we do 45 with 1,000 watts? That's got to be interesting, hasn't it? So we'll just let these riders get ahead of us a bit and then we'll give it some gas. Okay, I decided on turbo instead. So yeah, we've got 1,000 watts. Oh, that takes off. Let's see what we can do. The only problem is the brakes, for some reason, are not really bedding in that fast. So, whoa, actually it's almost kind of scary. You just pedal and ridiculous boost. Hey! Whoa! Okay, may look slow, but it feels fast. Oh, yeah, it's not cutting out, so I'm probably going to do well to do 45 through here, but at least whenever I pedal I get 1,000 watts. Whoa, can I double across there? Up. Again, pedal. Yeah. Why am I puffing? Even with all that much power? Oh, because I'm keeping busy. Oh, hey! Okay, I think I might be on the way to make split ends fun.
Go.
I just want to go fast.
Yeah, I thought you did.
Yeah, I want to try to see 1,000 watts, no speed left foot.
You're certainly going quick. Good value, mate.
It's funny though, like even at 1,000 watts, I'm puffing my hair.
Oh, right.
Yeah, I'm like, way, nearly went wide. Problem is with this much speed, you got to have that skill, and you got to do 100 through here. Oh. It's almost the faster you go, the more you puff. It's like everything's coming at you quicker. Oh, you see pedal down there, still getting boosted. Oh. You guys good? That's just quite good catching up because it gives me an excuse to stop, get my heart rate back under 200. Starting to get the feel of the bike now. Taking me a little while getting there. Holy crap! Oh, this is ridiculously good fun though. On any other bike, of course, you would have cut out on all those spots, which is why I didn't like it, but I think I might quite enjoy that. You watch this. Oh wait. Oh my goodness. Oh my goodness. I'm absolutely spent. I know people will not understand that, but whoa, I'm puffing hard. Okay, let's turn it down a couple of modes. Whoa, that is ludicrous. Ludicrously good fun. Alright, bit of damage at it, actually down to 40%, getting almost a bit of battery anxiety, so I've turned down sort of 750 watts in auto mode just to conserve a little bit. You kind of forget that 850 and 100 Newton meters is still turbo in most bikes. Alright, this is turning out to be a bit of an epic day. I think we've done close to 40k so far and over 1,000 vert. Still going about 20-25% battery or something, so I think we're actually going to get a range test out of this. But to be honest though, I'm actually feeling stuffed. I'm feeling like I'm ready to call it a day. So these guys are obviously pretty fit and keen to keep charging, but yeah, that's a good 40k is a good ride for me. Alright, I think I'm officially exhausted. I got 44 k's and about 1,100 meters of climbing, and it said I could do about another 7 k's range on the bike, still a bit. So I get 50 k's, that's mostly in auto but using some trail, and I use some turbo as well. So you can definitely get a pretty good ride out of that. So I must admit, we could have done more. I actually ready to stop now. So yeah, we're going to call that a day. Okay, so we're into day 2 of testing the Amflow. Yesterday it was a big day. Did 44 k's on it, and as I say, used mostly auto, bit of trail and a bit of turbo. According to the computer I could have got 50, so that's a pretty good ride. I was exhausted well before the bike was, but today I'm going to just see if we get a few camera shots, try a few different more techie tracks, maybe see if we can find some jumps, who knows. Anyway, let's keep going. Alright, we're going to drop into the top section of minerals. We've done out of office already this morning, and that'll be on a separate video if you want to check that out. I rode this yesterday, and I thought it was a little bit harsh, to be honest, and so overnight I let out air out of the shock and the fork. I sped up the rebound a little bit and dialed down the compression a bit, and it does certainly seem to be riding a lot nicer. I'm not the world's best at tinkering with suspension, but yeah, it clearly needed a little bit of work to get it a little bit plusher. Okay, so as this is not my bike, I'm going to turn off the chain protection feature and abuse the bike a little bit, and then we'll turn it back on. Alright, so if I just slam it through some gears, just abuse it. Surprisingly changes even well when you are abusing it. Oh, it's a little bit noisy though. Alright, maybe we'll try it. Let's just turn that on, give it another try with the chain protection on. Okay, I think it does very slightly button the power off, but it's yeah, I would definitely leave that on. If it's helping, it's got to be good, but it certainly doesn't affect the riding, and I think it probably is a little bit smoother. Alright, I can't believe I've ridden over 50 k's on this bike and I still have yet to jump anything on it, so I'm going to try this Topper Stormtrooper. It is blowing a gale up here, so we'll just take it easy, but yes, it's got to be jumped, hasn't it? Okay, spoiler alert, I'm not going to do the last one. Too windy, not my bike, all of those factors. Oh, lovely. And again, and you get a boost when you pedal. You can take off, like if I'm a bit slow here, put a pedal stroke in, and we're over. Oh, it's a bit slow on that one though, it's hard to get over that. And yeah, I'm not going to do the last one. Let's blame it on the wind. Oh, she's windy. Alright, bit of Black House down, grade 4. Make it look hard already. Now I must admit, on this bike it comes with the Magura MT7 Pros, I think they call them. And I've got Maguras on my KTM, and they work really, really well. But I'm a little underwhelmed with these brakes, to be honest. Now I know in some of the reviews, it's people have said, oh, you've got to change the pads, and there may be something in that, because yeah, they're not bad, but they're just, you know, they're not what I would expect from a real high-end brake. But yeah, it may just be a matter of changing some pads. I think it's funny as well that this bike on the website, I think it comes in as 19.2 kgs or something, but everybody swaps the tyres out, and this thing's got double cased Pirelli downhill tyres on that, and this is just their demo bike. So they obviously didn't feel confident that, you know, to leave the original tyres on. So you do wonder whether, given that most people are changing the tyres, they don't choose different tyres that people don't have to change, and just say the bike's slightly heavier. She's handling well though. Some of the reviews have said the frame flexes and things. I'm probably not a good enough rider to tell, but for your average Joe Bloggs rider, that's not an issue for me. Oh, that was fun. That was real fun. All right, the rain's starting to come in. It's due after lunch. Might be coming a little bit early. Got to try and get some shots for you. This sort of stuff's so great. Just this flowy trail. Absolutely flowed. I did the first ride this morning. I took no water with me. I took nothing with me at all, just my GoPro on the chin, because I like riding with nothing if I can. But because you got the motor, you just flew back to the car, and then now I've got a backpack full of cameras, and I'm going back out into it. But yeah, we're going to try and beat the rain. There's always been a lot of talk about this whole speed limit thing, and yeah, it's a controversial subject, but when I was doing that little jumps on Stormtrooper, that was brilliant. I could pedal stroke in and get some speed for the next jump if I didn't quite have enough speed, whereas normally you'd be cut out at that place, and yeah, you'd be trying to pedal without a motor and struggling to get over a jump. So we're going to call it a safety feature. I must do. One of the things I quite like is this smooth shift, and yeah, you can change gears without pedaling, and it just means that I kind of do it all the time now to some degree. I just kind of change gear in advance so that when I pedal, it's in that gear, and it's just, you know, saving that whole clunking through the drivetrain business. It's just quietly done it in the background. Okay, if it doesn't quite make sense, I can lift the bike up and change gears and do that. So I can change gears. Some people even use it to lube chains and all sorts of things, but yeah, you don't actually need to be pedaling. Obviously the cranks still go round, or the chain ring goes round, the cranks don't go round. So if you're, let's just test that. Yeah, so the cranks stay still, because obviously your feet would be on them. Very cool. This is a lovely piece of track here in Rotorua. This is called Apamoana, and believe it or not, I'm riding uphill. It probably looks on the footage as though I'm going downhill, but I'm actually going uphill on this thing, charging back to the top. Now, when I first got on this bike, I must admit I did feel it was a little bit low, and my good friend Jamie, who has a YouTube channel called Street Pigeon MTB, makes cool Scottish videos, he's got one of these bikes, and he's put riser bars on it. And if you see my recent videos, we did a thing on riser bars, and I said they weren't for me. However, this bike, I put it against my KTM at home, is about 4 centimeters lower off the ground, the handlebar position. So I think if I got this bike, I probably would get a slightly higher rise bar on it, just to bring me up a little bit, because you're sort of cross country low on this thing. All right, a little bit hard to look at the speedo and ride, but yeah, we're doing 31 kilometers an hour up at Pamoana, which I guess the thing you just have to be mindful is when you come along a steam bike, just be, you know, slow right up and be patient, let them know let them know you're there, and if it's okay to pass, do so. But yeah, everyone's got to get on together, but oh, this is fun. Okay, I think the rain's definitely settling in. We're going to do a bit of Tutiata, one of my favourites. I think I'm really starting to get the feeling of this bike now. Took me a while, but yeah, we're definitely getting there. It's very capable. I don't think anything that I ride it couldn't do, to be honest. I guess you could always go more travel and plusher and whatnot, but you certainly, as you say, would be able to do all the grade 5s and grade 6s and jumps, no issues. Boy, this is fun. I'm enjoying this. It's definitely raining now. Do I really have to stop and get you guys some shots? Do you really want that? Alright, got you some shots on Tutiata. It always amazes me how it's easier to ride it than it is to walk it. So a little bit of rain shower, made it a little bit slippery now. There we go. I should have filmed this bit. I forgot this bit. Yeah, she's turned a little bit sloppy. The bike doesn't seem to mind. Traction's pretty good, as say, not stock tyres, but these work pretty well. As you say, they're nearly as good as a Michelin. Doesn't have a mudguard on though, so yeah, do a few lens wipes, I guess. Over the roots. What do you reckon? Alright, don't tell anyone, but I'm going to ride straight up here just to see how it climbs. Just next to the track. Well, I have to go on the track, but you can see there's nobody there. Let's go straight up the guts. Boy, she climbs well anyway. Alright, please don't tell anyone I went up the track the wrong way, because some people just about have a coronary. Oh, that's cool. Might do it a few more times. That was actually kind of fun. Nice how you could just a couple of pedal strokes and just boost into it.
All right, so I'm just back from my ride. Okay, who am I kidding? We're still standing in the same barn. In fact, it took quite a bit of motor muck to get this bike back in the same gloss black that it started with. Now, what did I think of the Amflow? Well, I think anyone who buys this bike won't be disappointed. I really enjoyed my 2 days riding this thing. Very capable, very fun bike. Now, I did see on some reviews that they said the carbon frame had a lot of flex in it. And in all honesty, I could not tell or feel that. And I guess that's why some people like my reviews, because I'm not a pro rider, I'm just a very average mountain biker. And so people look at it and say, well, if Lance likes it, I'll probably like it as well. Now, the DJI Avinox motor, in my opinion, and it is my opinion, it's always upset some people, I think that this is clearly the best motor on the market at the moment. It's not just that it's got the power, it's the delivery of the power, it's the whole streamlined look, it's all the modes, it's the settings, it's the touch screen. All that as a package, I think, makes this the best motor. And of course, as I say, there's that whole 45 kilometre an hour cutout, which makes the bike so nice to ride. In fact, for the regulars of my channel, some of you will know that we did that track split ends. I'm not a big split ends fan, and the reason I don't like it is that it's quite flat, and so that every time you pedal a normal e-bike, you're over that 32 kilometre hour cutout, and so you're just trying to push along a heavy e-bike that doesn't want to go. This thing, however, of course, every time I pedaled, every single time, the motor was engaging and working and giving me a boost. And 1,000 watts down there, to say, every time I pedaled, felt absolutely awesome. It was great fun. The other thing was we did Stormtrooper, and we did those jumps, and it was running a little bit slow. So every time in between the jumps, you could just quickly throw in a pedal stroke, and you got a significant boost in speed to safely clear the next jump. So I do think that this is the motor, as I say, is certainly the best motor, and certainly in New Zealand with a 45-kilometre cutout, yeah, this is the one to go for. I hope you can hear me over all this rain noise. Hopefully this mic is not picking up how heavy it is raining outside. But in terms of the Amflow, in terms of handling, this bike can do everything that I need it to do. In terms of riding tech, in terms of doing jumps, this is certainly a very, very capable bike. I do think it's interesting though that almost every reviewer has said the first thing they'll do is swap out the tyres. And I've not tested the bike with the original tyres. They put these Pirellis, which actually were pretty good. The other thing that I would possibly look at changing with the brake pads, very high-end brakes, but I don't know, they just didn't seem to get the bite that I was expecting. They were very new. Maybe they'll bed in a little bit more, who knows. So would I recommend the Amflow? Absolutely. It's a great bike. I'd love to have one of these. It's a really, really cool bit of kit. But I did say that we would compare the Amflow with the Velduro Rogue. Now, I would like to point out that I would actually recommend both of these bikes. They're both very good bikes, and they could both do gnarly downhill, both do jumps, and both go along a rail trail quite happily. But maybe one bike would be slightly more suited than the other. The other thing about both bikes is that both bikes are adaptable, so either you could have a 29er or a mullet. However, this bike here comes with some beautiful looking carbon wheels, Amflow's own carbon wheels. And to me, if you're going to buy a bike, take an expensive wheel, put it one side in the garage, and then buy another wheel to make it a mullet, it makes more sense to buy the bike that you originally wanted to start with. Anyway, let's get into the comparison. All right, number one, Amflow, Chinese company. Valduro is a Kiwi designed bike. That may influence your decision if you're one of the people who like to support a New Zealand company. Saying that if you buy an Amflow, you'll still be supporting a New Zealand retailer. So yeah, by buying a new e-bike, you'll still be helping the New Zealand economy in one way or another. Number two, as mentioned, the Amflow is a full-on 29er, and the Valduro comes as a mullet. Now, I've made no secret that I'm a big mullet fan. That seems to be my preference. The Amflow actually had very little issues, and I think partly because this is a size large, but I still managed to do the old buzz on the trousers a couple of times. So yeah, some people love mullets, some people love 29ers, so again, that may influence your decision. Okay, next up we're talking rear suspension. The Velduro Rogue it's what we call a mid-pivot bike. It's got the idler wheel and the chain line going up over that idler wheel. And the Amflow are more sort of traditional setup. Now, there's no right and there's no wrong here. A friend of mine just bought himself a new bike, and probably the main selling point for him was it was a high pivot bike, that and it was purple. Saying that, on the first ride I did on this thing, there was a few guys on Amflows, and one of them said to me that he looked at the Velduro but didn't like the whole look and the messy look of that idler wheel and the chain line. He liked the simplistic lines of the Amflow. So again, there's no right and there's no wrong there. It's what you like the look of or what like you the feel of. The mid-pivot, I guess, is probably slightly more suited to really rowdy, chunky stuff where you want that wheel to move in a backwards path rather than an upwards path. But yeah, we'll leave that decision up to you. Okay, so while we're talking suspension, we better talk about travel. The Amflow is a 160-150 bike, and the Velduro Rogue is a 170-160. Now, more travel doesn't mean a better bike. In fact, less travel sometimes can be more playful and more maneuverable. Saying that, big travel, good for big hits, big jumps, all that sort of thing. And that also probably rolls us nicely into head angle. This is a 64.5 degree head angle, and the Rogue is a 63.5 degree head angle. Again, slacker is not necessarily better. Slacker means the bike is more stable, it wants to track better, it wants to basically keep upright on its own. Whereas a steeper head angle, you have more responsive steering, it's more maneuverable. So there's definitely pros and cons to both. And again, it depends on what type of riding you think you want to do. All right, we should probably talk sizing. On every video I make when I do a review, I say how tall I am, the size of the bike I rode, and the reach on it. And every time I get people sending me messages, how tall are you? So anyway, here we go. I'm 176 centimeters tall. This is the size large on the Amflow, and it's got a reach of 475. On the Rogue, I actually rode the medium, and it had a reach of 466. To be honest, I think the Rogue, probably the reach is about the sweet spot for me. This felt good. I was very happy on it, but actually I wouldn't mind if I got the chance to even try a medium, because sometimes the smaller bikes I actually, surprisingly enough, enjoy more. But yeah, I hope that helps. Dropper posts. Dropper posts. The Valduro has the ability by the design where they've moved the charging point to allow you to get a really long dropper in. Saying that, on this bike, I couldn't actually put a bigger dropper because that's already slammed on the frame. One thing, if I was getting this bike, it's probably it's a minor thing, but it's got this beautiful clean cockpit, you know, almost no cables. And if you got a wireless dropper post in there, you'd get rid of that cable as well. And I think that would look really cool. Another thing I've just thought of actually, some people really hate headset cable routing, and this bike hasn't gone down that path, so that may please some people. Now, there is one factor between the two bikes that is going to probably be the biggest deciding factor for some, and that is that the Velduro Rogue comes in a frame-only option, whereas the Amflow doesn't. So I've seen a lot of people buy the Amflow and then change the fork, change the shock, change the rear wheel, and that seems a lot to do to a bike that clearly you're not quite happy with. So I guess if you bought a Rogue frame, you could put what you wanted on it to start with. So I guess you'll have to do the maths on that. So anyway, I can't believe it. Thanks very much if you've made it to this far in the video. You are either really keen on knowing which bike to choose or interested in the Amflow, or you're just a die-hard fan. But thanks anyway. Love it if you subscribe. Maybe let me know in the comments which bike you would prefer. I'd like to say that it's no good bike versus bad bike. I think it's two great bikes. I think most people would be happy whichever one they choose. And as I say, probably what it'll come down to is some of you will be the gloss black fan and some of you will like matte black. But anyway, see you on the next one.